Welcome back everyone to Trina's Eats and Treats. I hope you all had a great week again this week. So for this week's recipe, this is going to be a Trina's treat. So as you all know, when I say Trina's treat, it means it's going to be a dessert. And this week's dessert is a recipe that my mom gave me many years ago. I don't even know when. It's been so long since I had this recipe. And it's called Mississippi Mud. And it's a really good dessert, and I think you're really going to like it. But before we get started, as you know, you need to turn your oven on. Usually these things, I always tell you to put your oven on in the beginning. So you need to put your oven on 350 because we are going to basically need a bottom layer to this, and it's a crumbly layer, and it needs 20 minutes on 350. So go and preheat your oven right now to 350. So this Mississippi mud that we're going to make today is 3 layers. There's not many ingredients at all, and it's a very simple recipe. As you know, I like my simple recipes. 3 layers, but the 3 layers are very simple. The first layer on the bottom that we're going to put in the oven is a 1/2 cup of melted butter, which as you can see, I already have my butter melted. And as you know, I use the Scotsburn, but you can use whatever butter you want. It's a salted butter. I use Scotsburn salted butter, but you can use whatever salted butter you want, and it's a 1/2 cup of butter melted. You're going to use 1 cup of flour, all-purpose flour. That's all it is. And you're going to need a 1/2 cup of chopped almonds, plain almonds, not salted almonds or anything fancy almonds, just plain almonds. And so as you can see by my almonds, they're coarse. Some of it is a little bit finer than other pieces, but it's kind of like a coarse chop. So chopped almonds, that is your bottom layer. Your middle layer, which we're going to get to a little later, is going to be 12 ounces of cream cheese. Now I use light cream cheese. To me, I just like to make it like, a little less calories if I can. And you're going to need 1.5 packages of the light cream cheese or the regular cream cheese, whatever you want. This is 250 grams, so you're going to need 1.5 of these. And as you can see, mine is sitting out here because you need to leave this on your counter from the fridge for about 45 minutes or so that it's easier to mix with your mixer and it's not too tough. So leave it out on your counter for about 45 minutes or so before we use it. So that's why it's been sitting on the counter for a little while, so it softens up, so it's easier to use. We need 1/2 of a container of Cool Whip. Again, I use the light Cool Whip just to make it a few less calories. And this Cool Whip is a liter. You only need 1/2 liter, but you can't buy 1/2 liter of Cool Whip. So we're going to need 1/2 liter of this. And we're going to need 1/2 cup of icing sugar. That is mixed together, those 3 ingredients, as your middle layer. Your top layer is simply Jello chocolate pudding with 2 cups of milk, whisk, put it in the fridge, let it thicken a bit, and that goes on the top. Very simple. What kind of dish should you use for your bottom layer? Well, first of all, your bottom layer dish needs to be greased. So as you can see, I have a little butter in there already. We're going to use a little piece of saran wrap and we're going to grease this dish. This dish that I'm using is 9 by 9. That's all you need, is a 9 by 9. This one is a little deeper because there's 3 layers. So you're going to need a little bit of the deeper one so that all 3 layers can fit here. So again, it's a 9 by 9 and we need to grease this up. So we're going to do that now. Get it all nice and greased up there really well. All right, so that's greased up pretty good. So then in your bowl, you are going to mix up your 1/2 cup of butter. That's going to go in. Melted butter. You are going to put in your 1/2 cup of chopped almonds. and you are going to put in your cup of flour. You're going to mix all of this really well. This kind of looks like to me, like, you know, it's called Mississippi mud. So this kind of looks like to me, the bottom part where it's all like sand and dirt and everything all mixed together outdoors. Like the bottom layer of your mud, right? So again, half a cup of chopped nuts, half a cup of melted butter, 1 cup of flour. So, as you can see, this is all mixed up now really well. This is what it looks like. So this is now going to go in the bottom of my dish. Now this is only going to end up being like a very thin layer. Thin layer of, we'll say, sand on the bottom, since it's called Mississippi mud. With the mud, you know, you gotta have some sand. This is what it looks like. Flatten it out now with this little spatula I have here. You don't want any open spaces. You want to spread it out. And you want to try to have it as, you know, equally thin as possible. There you go. That looks really good. So now we're going to go over to the oven and we're going to put this in our oven at 350 for 20 minutes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do our second layer. Welcome back, everyone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the second layer to our Mississippi mud. So the second layer of the Mississippi mud, basically what you need there are the ingredients I told you about earlier. You need a half a cup of icing sugar. Plain, simple icing sugar. Half cup. You need these cream cheese is 250 grams. You need 1.5 of these. So we're going to put in a full one. Then we're going to cut this one up in half, right here. Half, put that back, I'll put that in the fridge. And then we're going to use a half a cup of the 1 liter of Cool Whip Light. So I'm going to try to get that down the middle. Oh, look, it all came in one, pretty much in one spoonful. Great. So now all we're going to do is we're going to mix up this layer, and this is going to be our second layer. When this is mixed up, we're going to put this in the fridge and let it cool, because our bottom layer is still in the oven at 350 and there is 13 minutes left. So we're going to do our second and our third layer while we're waiting for that to come out of the oven. So again, half a tub of Cool Whip, 1.5 of the 250 grams of Philadelphia cream cheese. Light, you can use whatever brand cream cheese you want, and a half cup icing sugar. So we're going to mix this up. with our mixer. Now what you're going to do is you're going to try to get this as creamy as possible, and I'll show you the end result when I'm done here. So as you can see, this is really nice and creamy. This is absolutely delicious. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the fridge. And because once this comes out of the oven, this has to cool down completely. The bottom part of the Mississippi mud has to cool completely before this middle layer can go on. But this middle layer is already looking really good. But we're going to also put this in the fridge so that it will firm up as well before it goes on to the first layer. Welcome back, everyone. So our bottom layer has been in the oven for 20 minutes on 350, so it's ready to come out. Now, as you can see, this makes a beautiful bottom layer. So what we need to do right now is we need to basically cool this bottom layer. Since it's in a pan like this, of course, it's not going to break. So I'm just going to leave it in here for 20 minutes on the stove top, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge for probably an hour, so the bottom crust is cooled completely before I put the second layer on that we just finished doing. It's in the fridge now. And now we're going to do the third layer. And then in about an hour or so, we're going to do all the 3 layers and put them all together and have a taste test. See you in a bit. Okay, everyone, now we're going to do our top and final layer, which is really easy. Basically, it's just mixing up Jello pudding mix, chocolate. Now, when we started out, I never really told you what kind of milk you can use. I use the Natural 0%. You can use regular 1%, 2%, whatever basically you have in your fridge. That's what I use to mix up the chocolate pudding. And it's just a package, 2 cups of milk. Whisk it, put it in the fridge. That's all there is to it. We're going to put this in. We're going to put in our 2 cups of milk. We're going to whisk this up for a couple of minutes. want to get all the pieces that stuck to the sides. All right, we're done. So now this is going to go in the fridge as well to firm up for about an hour or so. So I'm going to meet you back here in an hour, and we're going to have the bottom crust cooled down. We're going to have the middle part firmed up. We're going to have our chocolate pudding firmed up, and we're going to put it all together, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end result. Okay, everyone, we're finally ready to put all these three things together. So the bottom layer has now been cooling in the fridge, so it's nice and cool. This is firmed up, your middle layer. We're going to spread this over the bottom layer. So the middle layer goes on the bottom layer, and then your chocolate goes on top. So now we're going to put it all together. Scrape everything out of the bowl. All right, so we're going to spread this on. I said the bottom was like sand. I say the middle part is like snow, and the top part is going to be your mud. Oh wow, this is going to be amazing. So this is your middle part. That's done. Now we're going to put the chocolate on top. I don't know about you, but I love chocolate pudding. It doesn't even have to be on a dessert. I just love chocolate pudding in general. Spread all this over your top. And here you have your finished product, your Mississippi mud. So now what we're going to do is we're going to taste test this like we do every week. This is not going to be pretty. Now this is called Mississippi mud for a reason. It's not going to come out in pretty pieces. If you put it in the fridge for 3 or 4 hours it might, but you know, it's not meant to come out in nice solid pieces. This is called mud, and for a reason. So we're going to cut out a piece. I'm going to scoop it out here. Well, actually, that came out better than I thought. I didn't think it was going to come out that good. So you got your bottom, your middle, your top. I'm going to eat mine with a spoon. Oh. On a scale of 1 to 10, that's a true 10. Oh my goodness, a true 10. Again, cheers to you. If you make this dessert, you are absolutely going to love it. It is so good. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. And your guests will absolutely love it. If you like this video today, please give me a thumbs up. I would love to hear any comments that you want to make. Put it in the comments section. If you haven't subscribed to my channel as of yet, please consider doing so. It would help me out a lot. And again, absolutely delicious. And until the next one, have a great week and make somebody smile today. We'll see you on the next one.